I watched The Crow, which I haven't seen since I was like 11. Um, and back then, as a young child, it was super badass, right? You're like, this movie's cool. It's got a dark, imposing figure that kills people and has a pet crow. Um, that attracts people. It's badass. It's metal. You know what I mean? You got Brandon Lee up on a rooftop playing guitar for some reason. But anyways, um, and then I watched the newest film, which some would call it a remake. Um, but I don't call things that are based off of like books or novels remakes. So like Stephen King's It, the made for TV series follows the novel way better and closer and actually has um, you know dialogue and sections from the book in that film. The adaptation to the screen messed up the entire story, made new shit up, changed characters around, and failed miserably to deliver what the novel was all about. Um, so I'm not going to say that that was a remake of the TV series, uh, TV miniseries adaptation. It's like Salem's Lot, um, miniseries adaptation versus the film Salem's Lot, which is the film's way scarier. Although the movie itself had some, or I guess it was a movie too, right? Just longer. Done it. I can't even remember at this point. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about The Crow. I'm off topic. So there was a lot of cool elements once I rewatched the original film, The Crow, that were new and cool and not really seen before in film. And so for that time frame, that was a whole different experience. It changed the I want to say it changed the film world. It really showed what films and things and are capable of, and what we can do with using just a little bit more creativity and um, you know trying some new things out. But they did a very damn good job. Um, so for me, the Brandon Lee, he it was funny, and I didn't realize that it was a comedy. And if it isn't a comedy, then why was I laughing throughout the entire film? Like I was just busting up laughing every time Brandon Lee would say a line. Like he sounds just like his father, um, exactly like his father. It was crazy. And then, um, it was just kind of a joke, and he looked like Jared Leto and with makeup on. So if Jared Leto painted his face all white with his long hair and put the little black, he could play the Crow. They could technically redo that movie exactly the same way with Jared Leto, and you wouldn't even notice. Um, it was hard for me to take that film seriously, although it was a good film. But it was I rewatched it with an open mind. I didn't focus and base it off the nostalgia that I would feel watching it after all these years and the way that I felt when I, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where I had a friend watch it And that's all they did. They nostalgia kick, and they're like, "Oh, that was such a good film," blah blah blah, and I'm just like, no, no, it wasn't a good film at all. It was, in fact, just a very shitty film with a few cool parts. And honestly, that's all that film was. There wasn't anything amazing or special about that film at all. Um, it's actually a bad film. Um, if you just look at it from a normal perspective. But see, here's the thing. I watch hundreds and hundreds of movies a month, and I've seen all kinds of stuff. You know, I watch the worst movies, I watch some of the greatest movies, I watch horror movies, I watch a bunch of series. You know, I'm filled with just all kinds of stories, top to bottom, and I read tons of books. And so when I'm reintroduced into a film that is supposed to be awesome and badass for the time, that's what it is. It's for that time. During that time, it was badass. It was awesome during that time, and it didn't hold up well. That's the thing. I based it upon today, and I go, wow, that was not good. It's like, think about like your favorite book or your favorite video game. Is it still good today? Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, still good today? Yes, yes it is. Still, the original, The Legend of Zelda, still good today. The Crow, not good today. See where I'm going with that? The Inheritance Cycle, is it still good today? Yes. Harry Potter, yes. Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit, yes, still good to today. You see what I'm saying? See where I'm going with it? So, now, the 2024 version, I was kind of feeling a little bit different with this one. It was too long. Like they had a bunch of just stupid shit that shouldn't have been in the film. They could have just cut a lot out of it. But overall, I liked the darkness of this story more because it was actually more dark. There was a lot more evil to it. You could feel it on the screen. You could see it on the screen, and they even went that direction with it. Really, it made a more supernatural part of the film. Which, if, in the original, it was the same way. You know, he had healing powers and he couldn't die. And but in this film, they gave you a little bit more, so you had a better understanding of kind of what was going on. And so the love story, I love the love story. I felt the connection more in the newer one, and I didn't feel any actual connection in the first one because it happened so quick. It was just like there and then over, and he's now taking revenge. Yeah. And although this was similar, they had a shotgun. They had a shotgun romance. There was actually a little bit of a background, and then you can see them being drawn and pulled to each other, and that was the whole courtyard scene where they were, you know, oh, I'm worse than you, I'm worse than you, I've had this happen, I've had this happen, I've had this happen, blah, and they step, who's the most fucked up, and they're like, oh, we're the most fucked up, let's be a couple, you know. but so you get a kind of a background. And for me, the stuff that just drug on too long was all of the fighting and the gunshot and the things like that. Like him going through, we get it. He can't die. He's getting stabbed. There's, it's like, oh my God. But then it just keeps coming. And you're just like, it's like John Wick when after like 100, after like 10 kills, you get bored and you're like, oh my God, get to the story. We're done watching people just die. We're done watching these action sequences, because that's the same exact action sequence that you did 20 minutes ago, and now you're doing it again. Oh, you just tweak that one a little bit, but that's pretty much the same as the one that you did from the movie before that one. Oh, and then it just gets boring. Like if you sit down and you watch all the John Wick films back to back, oh my God, it's boring. Like cut out all the action and then just put the story part together. Boom. Best movie ever. Cut out all that nonsense action stuff that doesn't make any sense. Just put the action in that actually moves the plot forward, and the movie's amazing. So if they would have done that with this film, it would have really fixed it, and I think a lot more people would have enjoyed it, because we get it. Like, oh, I got stabbed. That's cool. Now I'm cutting through. Oh, I'm cutting this guy's jaw in half. Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, I just fell backwards and stabbed this guy. Oh, I just brought the knife through out of my chest and stabbed this guy in the eyeball with the knife. Oh, there's all these different things. And we're just like, okay, we've seen it before. Okay, that little bit piece right there was kind of cool. Okay, all right, come on, let's get on with the story. And then the end was just kind of like lackluster. You were just like, it's like in those movies when they kill a vampire and they're like, no hellfire, no explosion, no, like Seth Green in Idle Hands. But point is yeah, it was just, I just didn't care for it, and I mean, the bad guy in him, that was the lackluster. Him bringing her back to life, spoiler, to live out her days. I enjoyed that. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good human sacrifice, and it kind of proved and showed that selflessness. And although it was a kind of a hypocritical sacrifice, if you will, he's always wanted to die. He just wasn't brave enough to actually go through with it, which is why he has all the scars on his wrists. And then, like, right when he first seen her, he was like, drop the razor blade, because he was like, oh, I have a reason to live in this moment, in this time. And then that was kind of the thing with the whole film. He had a reason to live, but not really, because if he wasn't immortal, he would have already been dead, because he was just putting himself in the line of fire every time. He was like dying every time. Like he never once was a badass to the point that he was actually sacrificing his life. He was just continually dying. And so you were just kind of like, okay, I get it. It's like in Aragon, the Aragon Inheritance series. What always bothered me was Aragon was always getting knocked out. He was always blacking out, getting knocked out. And I was just like, dude, I'm getting tired of hearing you being knocked out. It was the same with Murtagh. He just kept getting knocked out. I was just like, why? Why does Christopher Paolini love his characters to be knocked unconscious? I guess it's kind of like he can go from this point to this point. There was a lot, and anyway, I'm getting distracted. If you want to, I want to do a review for Murtagh. I just haven't yet. Anyway, so anyways, it was a better film than the first film, and I didn't quite care for the first film, and I don't care to ever watch it again. I just don't. The new film I would watch again. I liked a lot of the elements to it. There was just a lot of boring stuff that you can just zone out and gloss over and go back to reading a book, and then when the good stuff happens, you can watch again. But the first film, I slapped that motherfucker with because it wasn't good. It really wasn't. It's a 6.2 out of 10 at best. This one, I give it a 8.9 out of 10. The 2024 version. Is it 8.9? Yeah. So 6.2, 8.9. That's your review. I'm Timothy Alman Jr. And until next time, fuck off.